Welcome to the Dream Journal. From the studios in KSQD in Santa Cruz, the Dream Journal is a weekly show where we explore the power of nighttime dreams through conversations with dream experts and with listeners like you. In the house behind, the life you find is something understood. A dream can be meaningful without having to know what it means. All right, this morning's music is called Stealth Shadows. You can always find full uninterrupted versions of this music at narrativespecies.com. This is Catherine Bell of Experiential Dreamwork, and welcome to the Dream Journal. The Dream Journal is also a podcast, so you can look for that on all of your regular podcast platforms, and also on the KSQD website. That's at KSQD, that's the squid, ksqd.org/the-dream-journal. So look for the Dream Journal and review it. We really appreciate those 5-star reviews, and subscribe and tell your friends. It really gives you a chance to talk about dreams. And what would you rather be talking about than dreams anyway, right? So I'm going to start with my personal dream work. And I have a particular image that's kind of been haunting me this week. It was part of a more complex dream, but I don't remember the other details, because for the simple reason I didn't write them down. But this image has stayed with me, and I think I did finally write this image down. But this is something that I wanted to share. I'm standing in front of a black, kind of a wall out of some kind of carved stone, very dark gray. It has some kind of Incan carvings on it, maybe. It's about 50 feet wide, has kind of rounded edges, but then the height of it is amazing. It's like over 100 feet tall, 150 feet tall. And I am just in a green, grassy area, and like kind of East Coast style grass, European possibly. And it has these kind of cantilevered sections that stick out. So up about like 50 feet, there's a section that's extends out over my head like another 10, 15 feet. And then above that, there's yet another. And I'm looking at it. I basically have to lie down to see this thing. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, if that could fall. If that fell, it would land on me. I don't know that I was particularly afraid, but I was like, interesting. So there's something about this that really speaks to me. And I don't know what it is, and perhaps our guest today will be able to say a little bit about it, since her specialty is images. But to give you some background, I actually have been really anxious lately, and I don't know what's going on, but I've been jumpy, and my digestion's off a bit. I'm just feeling like easily irritable, very irritable. So somehow this wall, or whatever it is, edifice, that's the word I keep using to describe the edifice, someone has something to say about that. So I don't know. I'm just feeling into that image, the edifice. So I'd like to say hello to our guest, Dr. Catherine Shainberg. Hi.
Hello, Catherine.
This is Catherine Shainberg, PhD. She is an internationally renowned transpersonal psychologist, lecturer, teacher, visionary, and award-winning author. Grounded in the Kabbalah of light, she created the School of Images, where her work integrates timeless wisdom with modern Western traditions to catalyze creative manifestation at all levels in all areas of life. And her webpage is schoolofimages.com. So, Dr. Shainberg, so good to have you on the show.
I'm delighted to be here.
Excellent. I'm wondering if you can, I have to say, start off by telling me, how do I pronounce Kabbalah? Is it Kabbalah or Kabbalah? Kabbalah?
No, Kabbalah.
It is Kabbalah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, because I know your new book is all about the Kabbalah, and we want to get into that soon. And I also want to talk about your idea of a dream revolution. But let's start first by maybe telling us a little bit about your history and your journey with dreams and images. How did you first get interested in the imaginal world?
I can't say that I was first interested, because I was always there.
Ah, yes.
Always in the imaginal world.
Yeah.
I basically, since I was a child, was involved with images and how images changed people. So I would project images and I would see change in people. And that was since I was 4 years old that I remember doing that.
Wow.
I often describe the story of a homeless woman on the other side of the street, and she slept there every night, and I would go to the window and wave, and she would wave back, and I would then surround her with blue light so she'd be comfortable and have a warm blanket of light around her.
Oh, sweet.
So it was always there.
Wow, even from age 4, so that you had this intuition of using images to send energy toward other people. It sounds like in this case, that's what you were doing.
That's what I was doing, yeah. I did a lot of that when I was a child.
Yeah. So how has that evolved over the years? Because you've obviously made a profession out of images. Maybe take us through a little bit of your background as you developed your own interests. So from the point, not from the, this doctorate here, or this degree here, but more from the point of view of the inner world of Catherine Shainberg.
Well, it was complicated because when you're a child and you say that you see things, people will tell you that you're a liar. So I got a lot of that when I was a child. I also got a lot from my mother, you're dreaming your life away. So it was very painful, but on the other hand, since I always had good grades and managed, they left me more or less alone, except when they would accuse me publicly of being a liar.
Oh, yes, of course.
Which happened when I took King George up to heaven on his funeral day.
Yes, tell us about that. What is that? What was that incident?
Well, we were there at his procession, and I see myself very clearly going to the coffin, opening it up, taking his hand, and taking him up to heaven.
And this
was completely real to me. Right. So I was just 5, and I told friends of mine. And then I was brought into the living room and accused of lying.
Oh, wow.
Today, I teach people how to do that. It's part of a Kabbalistic lineage where we learn how to accompany people through death and then through their transition. So I lived like that for many years, hiding what I was doing. And when college time came, my mother wanted me to go to a school where there were lots of men and so forth. And I couldn't imagine what I could do. So I decided to study art history, because there were the images that I was constantly living with.
Right.
So I went to art history school and did the Sorbonne and the School of the Louvre, and did masters in both places. And still, I was in difficulty because for my PhD, the master for my PhD didn't want me to be studying how images move people. And for me, this was essential. I wanted to know, if I was looking at a Matisse and I took away the lemon, then the Matisse fell apart. Why was that? Why did it change one's emotions and so forth?
Oh, interesting.
So I left the Sorbonne. I didn't do my PhD there. And I kept on hearing a voice saying, you've got to go to the Middle East, which I did. I went all over the Middle East. And then the voice got much louder and said, you've got to go to Israel. And I'd never been interested in Israel, but I turned up in Israel on a kibbutz during the Yom Kippur War. And that's where the guidance became much more powerful, because I met some French people on the kibbutz who talked to me about a lady in Jerusalem who was the social center of French community in Jerusalem. And when I heard her name, my head exploded into light. And I knew that's where I had to go. Although I didn't know who she was, what she did, or anything of the sort, I moved to Jerusalem to meet the lady.
It was
she was called Colette.
Colette. I have heard of this this woman from Roger Kamenetz, one of my mentors, who studied with her as well, and having to do with images. And so there's one of the phrases that I've heard you say, or seen on your webpage, of course. Stop thinking and start imagining. Is this part of this this imaging that you started to develop?
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. The idea is really to short circuit the mental in which we're so engaged and to find the subconscious truth, which is always there in us and is shown to us through our dreams and through images during the daytime. So we can plunge into the subconscious. We do that at night, of course, because we hover over the subconscious at night. Our mental is asleep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's what brings up the dreams. Let's say I have a question. You were talking about your image.
Yes.
I don't know if you want me to talk about it here.
Well, I do want to get into it, but let's maybe wait a. Well, actually, you know, why not?
Okay.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I'll follow your intuition, and because often I do that during the third segment. But let's go ahead and do it right now. So you were able to hear my description of the edifice?
I did. Yeah. I heard the edifice, and I think the edifice is a play on words, really.
Oh, how so?
Well, it's the edifice of what you've constructed in your mind.
Well, yes. It's a construction. It does seem out of place. It seems irrelevant to the landscape around it.
Well, yes, because it's very green and it's very pleasant, right?
Yeah, it is. It's a
and then the other thing that's really interesting in the dream is you mentioned 15 3 times.
Oh.
15 feet, 150 height, 15 feet again. You mention it, so that number is important, right?
Yeah, interesting. What do you make of the number 15?
Well, it depends how you want to read it. Do you want to read it as 1 and 5? Mm-hmm. Or do you want to read it as 6?
Oh, are you asking like what would I say intuitively? Yeah. Well, 6 is a very meaningful number to me.
Okay.
So that's what jumps out at me.
Okay, so you're questioning whether you have found the perfect fit for yourself. Uh-huh. And as you said, it's really, I'm afraid it's going to crash down on me.
Yeah.
That's an anxiety dream.
Yeah.
But the other part of the dream is saying very clearly, I'm fine. Mm. I'm in green grass. It's all very beautiful. I don't need to construct this.
Mm. Mm-hmm. It's true. I don't need to construct it. Interesting. So I'm getting some kind of body hits as you're speaking about this. Something that I've constructed, and is it going to fall on me? And as you're saying, I don't really need this.
You don't need it. It's a mental edifice, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Now, if I were working with somebody, as I am just now with you, right? Uh-huh. I would say, well, let's go back into the dream and close your eyes, breathe out, and start dissolving or destroying the edifice.
Oh, whoa.
Right?
Okay.
So you could, for example, grab the rays of the sun and dissolve the whole edifice. Mm-hmm. And once it's dissolved, how do you feel?
Wow. It goes away pretty easily. It's actually, and it doesn't fall on me as I'm imagining this. It kind of dissolves, and I'm more peaceful. I feel more alive, less anxious. So that sense of something falling on me is connected definitely with the edifice. And as it goes away, so it's interesting. I have a tendency to recreate it. It kind of pops back in.
Well, but when it's gone, how does it feel?
Okay.
So you have a new landscape that's open and very green, right?
Right. It's
so that's good.
It is good. It's a little boring, I must say.
Well, that's something else. So if you're bored, you need to breathe out, look across that green landscape and ask for the gift from heaven. Since you were separating heaven and earth, what is the gift from heaven? And what comes? Look into the blue light from the sky, the bluest, deepest light, and ask for the gift that connects heaven and earth for you. What is the image that appears?
The gift would be the peacefulness to accept this as it is.
No.
Okay.
No.
What is the image?
I'm asking you for an image.
Okay.
Look into the blue sky, to the deepest blue, and ask for whatever heaven wants to show you. And see it appearing in an image. What opens up from the sky and what appears?
Oh. I'm not sure. I'm not getting a strong image. I'm kind of seeing what I see in the studio, actually, which is there's kind of a Buddha, psychedelic Buddha image, and that's what's popping for me. But I realize when I close my eyes, I'm kind of seeing the after image. I'm not really getting an image.
So, where's the sun in the sky?
Okay. Okay, the sun is very high. It's sort of ahead of me. Not directly overhead, but it's kind of where the edifice was. So that could be an image, the sun itself.
Catch a ray of the sun.
Do what?
And imagine.
Oh, catch a ray.
Catch a ray of the sun.
Okay.
Yeah. And imagine making a circle of light in the upper right-hand corner of the sky.
Okay.
And ask to see what appears in the circle of light. That resolves this issue of your anxiety. Yeah.
Well, this reminds me of it's the Buddha thing, and maybe that's, as I'm looking at the thing in the studio, it's actually not a Buddha, so the Buddha must be my image. What I'm looking at is somebody holding a guitar, but in my imagination, it's a Buddha.
Okay.
So maybe
that's what you're looking at.
Okay. Colorful, like very colorful, dust of different colors.
Now the colors are very important. What kind of colors are they?
Yellow and red and blue and white, orange.
So it looks like a lot of the colors of the rainbow, right?
Yeah.
So in a sense, something about the Buddha, first the Buddha's meditative state, right? But also the colors are comforting emotionally.
Yeah.
So that's your answer.
Okay. So something. Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Shainberg. That's very interesting. And I find that now that I have that image of the Buddha, that the edifice is not prone to come back so much. That in the image in my mind, the edifice is not popping back in as it was before I got that anchored on that image of the Buddha. It's
well, because the dream work is about a dialogue. We need to dialogue with the images that come. It's not enough to simply see them. If we dialogue with them, then we move on. If we don't replace an anxiety image with something new but organic and creative, then the anxiety is going to come back.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, well, this is Dr. Catherine Shainberg, and we are listening to The Dream Journal, and this is K-Squid 90.7 FM, streaming live at ksqd.org, and we will be right back with Catherine Shainberg, and we're going to talk about the Dream Revolution and her work around the Kabbalah of Light. Okay, you are listening to The Dream Journal. My name is Catherine Bell, and our guest today is Dr. Catherine Shainberg, and she is a keynote speaker at the upcoming IASD conference in Tucson. She'll be talking about the Kabbalah of Light. For right now, though, Dr. Shainberg, thank you so much for working with me. I wanted to say thank you. I'm really mulling over how that image of the Buddha is replacing the edifice, and how much anxiety that edifice really was holding for me. So thank you for that. Good.
Thank you.
Okay. So I want to talk a little bit about, let's start with the School of Images. This is something that you have founded, and it looks like a very extensive school that when I was looking online. And maybe you could say just a little bit about what caused you to create it and what it's all about. And we'll get into some of the details near the end of the show of how folks can sign up and all. But what is it for you? How is it for you to have that school?
Well, I opened the school as a non-for-profit to enable people to be able to come and study not only their dreams, but their dreaming, because I see that as a complete circle. The night dream and the daytime visions, and how we can tap into our subconscious very quickly, very easily, and obtain change very, very fast. So I wanted to first develop the methodology. I was trained by a great teacher, but she was of the old school. You sat there and she made you go through your dreams and your exercises, but never explained anything. So I wanted to develop the methodology so that people today who desperately need help with all the uncertainties of today would have tools that they could use instantly on themselves.
So it's providing tools for folks to work with their dreams and with images as well, it sounds like.
Right. For me, it's a great river. We come from a great source, and that source is images, forms, patterns, energetic blueprint. And so we're made of those images.
Right.
When we look at them at night, they are like pop-ups from the great river. And let's say you have an anxiety, as we were looking at earlier. We have an anxiety, and the image pops up. It's there for us to do something about it. It's not there something just there. It's there for us to respond to it, and if necessary, do what I call a tikkun, a correction.
Yeah,
and then new images appear.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt. I was just very struck by your approach of saying, well, let's imagine the edifice is not there, just really totally removing that image. That I am often very timid about changing a dream, and that I would tend to stay with it. And I appreciate your courage to just say, imagine it's not there, like let the rays of light clear it away. So thank you.
But we need to do it in a way. We need to do it in a way that is acceptable and organic and works. We can't just say, well, it's not there, so let's move on. So we have to burn it, dissolve it, transform it, right? We have to do that.
Right.
If not, the new images will be mental. They won't come from the source.
And how do you know how to change a dream image like that? I guess that's experience is part of it. Do you have any tips, though, that you could offer us?
Well, I find that there's no difference between this world and the world of dreams, except that the world of dreams is much more fluid, and the world here is more fixed. So if in a dream the toilets are blocked, I need to unblock them. If the table is dirty, I need to clean it. If someone tries to force their way into my house, I need to protect myself, but I also need to find out what that person has to tell me. As long as I'm protected. So I'd put light around myself and have a shield, have whatever I need to protect myself. And I would find out what it is that is trying to crash into my house. And deal with it. Because our dreams are trying to tell us where we're at today, now.
So this is the danger of doing the dream work at the beginning, because now I'm still curious about that image. Is there some information from me then in my dream about the edifice, about the anxiety that the dream is sharing with me? That dream is, or should I not be dwelling on the edifice? Because
you should not be dwelling on it.
Okay, thank you.
Because if you do, we're going into a mental process. And the work that I describe is not a mental process.
Stop thinking and start imagining.
Exactly.
There it is. And so now that brings me to the topic of the current media landscape that provides us so much image. Like we have our phones, we have movies, magazines. There's just images everywhere. And how do the images from outside of us interact with our inside images?
Well, it's like you eat too much, and then you feel sick, and we eat too many images from the outside, and we're flooded with them. So our own imaginal creativity is not challenged and not exercised. So if you look at kids today, they're all on their iPhones, on their iPads. They're not exercising their imagination as we used to do as kids. We'd be outside, there'd be a twig on the ground, and suddenly it became a scepter, and we invented the whole world. And through that world, we taught ourselves resilience, courage, innovation. We taught ourselves so much through the use of our imagination. Today, they're playing games. And the games can't do that for them.
Right.
I was a case of one of my students who had taken a lot of drugs as a very young teenager, right? And when she came to me, she was a young adult. But I would sit her in the office and have her close her eyes and tell me what she saw. And what she saw was dead boring.
Wow.
The cars driving down the road and stopping at a garage, and what is it doing? I don't know. And this went on for 2 years.
Wow.
I was very patient at the time. and then suddenly it was like an explosion, and her imaginal flow started again. And it was extraordinary. Her whole life changed at that moment. From that moment on, in the next few weeks, she met her future husband. Her whole life started to unfold as it should have. Right? And I'm talking about the drugs because iPads, iPhones are drugs.
Yeah, that's very true.
To our kids. Right?
They're designed to be addictive. They are just, yes.
Yeah. So it's all about addiction and how to solve addiction. And I strongly believe that the imagination is the way to solve addiction.
Okay. And so by enhancing the imagination, exercising it. Okay.
Yes, exercising it. Yeah.
So how do you recommend people get started using their imagination if they have not used it much in the past?
I would start with getting a dream book and writing down their dreams. And then, if possible, taking a look at the dreams, because the dreams tell us the truth. They might not tell it in a way that we like. The nightmare is not pleasant, or the repetitive dream is not pleasant.
Right.
Or the clear dream may show us half the way, but not the whole way. So we need to return into the dream in the morning and respond to its necessity. There's no other way that I can explain that. And of course, it takes a little training, but people get it very fast.
So starting with the dreams, as those are the potent images that are arising spontaneously from our subconscious. And so as you're saying that even if they're not peaceful, and yet the dreams do bring us peace. How does that happen, that even an unpeaceful dream can bring us peace?
Because they tell us the truth.
The truth, yep.
They don't give us peace, but they tell us the truth. And the truth brings us peace in the long run, right?
That's true.
So they give us the truth because it's a body language. It's a deep, deep body language. And when I say body language, I go right back to the blueprint of the energetic patterns that we are made of. And they talk to us about the truth of where we are now. So they'll show it to us in images and in scenarios that are indicating what we're doing to ourselves. So in that sense, they bring us peace.
Right. Right. Certainly, I've had the experience of dreams showing me that not only where I am, but how I feel about where I am. Because I might be like, in waking life, I might think, oh, that's fine. That's okay. But in the dream situation, it does not feel okay. And I recognize that, oh, actually, this has to change. This is not okay.
Exactly. So the dream will tell you, on the outside, it might look absolutely perfect. I work with an old student of mine who's the CEO of an international company. And, whenever he has a problem with somebody, one of his staff, he calls up or he asks for a dream. And so then he calls me up and we look at the dream, we look at the photo of the person. And the dream generally tells him very, very clearly what is the problem and what he needs to do.
Okay. So really concrete problem solving using dreams.
Not only concrete, but the dream, it depends on the question you have. So let's say you're not feeling too well and you ask a question, or even if you don't ask the question, the dream will show you your state of health.
Yeah, right. It's
right.
Always
and also ways of healing that.
Wow, that sounds really, really practical, useful. I mean, the dreams are something that evolved hundreds of millions of years ago, so there's something really practical about dreaming.
I believe so. Even the animals dream, so they get something out of it, right?
They do. Apparently they do, for sure. So let's spend a few minutes talking about Kabbalah and the Kabbalah of Light, this new book that you have coming out coming out right about now, June 2022?
Actually, July 5th.
Okay, July 5th. These things get delayed sometimes.
Yeah, they've been delayed because of what's happening in the ports. Paper is being held up and ink is being held up in the ports. Anyway, the Kabbalah is a very, very ancient word. It comes from a great master of the 13th century called Isaac the Blind. And he wasn't really blind. Clearly, from all of his writing, he wasn't blind. But he was blind to the outside, like Isaac the Blind in the Bible. Isaac in the Bible was blind. But again, it was because he lived in tents. He looked inside. That's the metaphor. And he invented the word Kabbalah. And the Kabbalah means to receive. So at first it was really to receive from looking inside, to receive from the inner gazing. So when you turn your eyes inward, something happens that's very extraordinary. And I'd like to bring it back to the creation in the Bible, where God hovers over the chaos and suddenly there's light. And this is what happens when you dream at night. You look inside and suddenly there's light. It's not made by your night lamp or by the moon or by the stars or the sun. It's really you are creating light.
True.
And that light starts to illuminate you, especially if you work with it, if you exercise that turning inward, that inner gazing. And so with many of the students, when they start working like that, the more they work like that, the more their images become radiant and filled with light. So it's a practical path towards enlightenment.
Okay, practical enlightenment. I think that's something we all could use. So this is Dr. Catherine Shainberg, and my name is Catherine Bell. So this is the Dream Journal, and we'll be right back. This is the Dream Journal. My name is Catherine Bell, and we are here with Dr. Catherine Shainberg. I'd like to talk to you, Dr. Shainberg, about the dream revolution. What is that, and what would that look like if we went through a dream revolution?
Well, we are going through a dream revolution.
Yeah.
We are, because people have realized that their mental processes aren't enough to resolve the problems of today. And they're not resolving the problems of today. Meanwhile, scientists have come closer and closer to the point of view of mystics. So we are in a place where people are realizing that, having analyzed all this to a great extent, they are not finding the way to peace and security. But their dreams can change them instantly and can show them the way, because the dream is about the truth. The subconscious talks to you about truth. And there's nothing in the way of the subconscious to tell you the truth.
So tell us, what would that look like, the dream revolution? People paying more attention to the dreams?
More and more attention to the dreams, to the creative process inside of themselves. It's no longer only about analysis. That's very well. We can do it, and the computers can do it now.
Yeah.
So we've got to bring something very new and very powerful to the challenges that are facing us today. And I believe that it has to be through the imagination. If you want to manifest, you must manifest through the imagination. If not, it doesn't work. You can't just imagine that you're going to get $10 million and write a check and see it. That's not going to work.
Right, that's true. So how do you use it?
You have to, you look inside, you ask the question. If you're asking, should I become a millionaire, and they show you a tent, well, no, you're not going to become a millionaire. If they show you 25 palaces, then maybe it's a good idea.
Well, how do you trust that, though? Because I can imagine I could just say, oh, yes, mansions, I can imagine that, and that could be just totally from my mind.
There's a little training here to be done, distinguishing between fantasy and the true inner voice. And the fantasy is always exhausting. It always takes you to a known goal, if you want. It's like using, it's like a bit of like masturbation, using the mental ideas and then twisting them to suit you, using the images to suit your mental ideas about your future. It's not revelation. And revelation is what is creative and powerful.
Excellent. So I just want to remind listeners of the phone number to call. It's 831-900-5773 if you want to get on the air, ask a question. So interesting that fantasy is exhausting, and yet, so it's like a mental masturbation, and yet would you say that true creativity or like dream revelation, how does that feel? How's the contrast?
Well, it's sudden and it's instantaneous. It's refreshing. It's new. You never expect to see that. And it changes your life instantly. I often have, couples who come to see me, or one of them comes in and says, it's dreadful. He did this and he did that. And then I always tell them, go back into your room. Close your eyes, go back into your heart and ask, what is the color of your love for that person? And sure enough, the color is bright and clear. Send it as a bridge to the other person. Talk to them through the dreaming. It's astonishing, the results that we get.
Oh, wow.
And so it's not about sitting in the kitchen fighting with each other, repeating the same old words. It's stepping back and going back into... First time I fell in love with this person. It was a revelation. And so we need to go back to the revelation, and that can only be done through inner gazing. During the daytime or during the night. But the daytime is also an undeveloped source of great power. I mean, I use it all the time with my students, but I think people haven't thought strongly enough. Many of the Christian saints had great visions,
That's true.
and they did it during the daytime.
Right.
We need to practice that.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Shainberg. We have a caller. This is Ray from Santa Cruz. Hi, Ray.
Mm-hmm. Good day. Hi, Catherine. How are you?
I'm doing fabulous. Glad to hear from you.
Shainberg.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank you.
This is a really great conversation. And I'm kind of wondering, you were talking about your CEO who was getting, concrete visions or direction of how to deal with any type of situation directly through a dream. And I'm just wondering if you could give any more of a concrete method to be able to pull that out of ourselves. How do you go from the dream state to the waking state to taking that dream and making it work for you?
Bringing the dream into action.
Right.
Well, that's really the inner action is so important. People do a lot of outer action, but they forget about the inner action. But really, all you need to do, Ray, is ask the question. Go to bed with that question in mind. It has to be a burning question. If not, the inside won't answer. But if you have a burning question about this employee and that you don't understand, or go ask it before you go to sleep. And then pay attention to your dreams.
About things I don't understand.
You say, Ray, you have lots of burning questions?
Oh, one will
things
do.
I don't understand.
Things I don't understand. Yeah.
Get the answer to one, and the other answers will come.
So it's kind of a dream incubation method to make the question really salient, because I find that my dreams kind of have their own agenda, and that I might ask a question about one thing and I get a totally different topic, and so maybe I'm not aware of what's the burning question for me. What is the one?
Well, I have a little exercise where you sit down and you ask, "What is the burning question?"
Yes, that would be helpful.
Well, it's silly. It's a kind of a way of focusing the student's mind on, what is really, really, really important.
Yeah. So how does that go? I'm good for that exercise. How does it? How do I?
Well,
find
okay.
Yeah.
Well, we can do a little exercise online if you want.
Sure. Is that okay, Ray? Do you want to be part of this?
Sure.
Okay. Great.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Okay.
Please.
So close your eyes.
Okay.
And breathe out slowly 3 times, counting from 3 to 1, seeing the numbers. See the one tall, clear, and bright. Now, this is you're asking, what is the burning question? Imagine that somebody puts a key in your hand. Take a look at the key.
Yeah.
What does your key look like, Ray? Describe to us the key.
Well, the key I see is it's a key of light actually, but it's like a big key that goes in an ancient lock, like you'd see on a castle door or something.
Good. So I was going to ask, find the lock to which the key belongs. You've already found that. That's good. Now walk in. Open the lock and push the door open and tell us what you see.
I see more light, actually. All kinds of beautiful colors, and I feel love.
And is it coming from a particular area of the castle, or is it in all the castle?
Well, I only see really kind of like one room at the moment.
And what kind of room is it?
Well, it's big. I guess it kind of expands as I think about it too. Actually,
Good. And
it started a pretty small room, but now it's kind of it's not really a room anymore. It's just kind of open space.
So there's an expansion there, right?
Right.
You had a clear question, right?
I have a clear question of what I want answered, how to go about it. Well, yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's not really the question I thought it was to begin with. It's, I guess, more of a universal question, or a question of, how do we live on Earth and, actually live in harmony with all beings and stop killing each other and all of that.
Wow.
Well, you've given us a beautiful answer.
Ah, that's quite a question, Ray. Wow.
And the answer was it's beautiful. Expansion and love.
Mm.
Right.
That's why this work gives me so much joy. Because we find so many beautiful things.
Mm.
So, Ray, that was beautiful. Thank you.
Well, I love that exercise. I'm going to try that again some more because I want to narrow it down to what my original question really revolved more around my own life and my business practice and, how to go forward with it and, make things work a little bit better. But,
right.
Like you said, expansion, and it definitely expanded. Walking through that door and the questions you asked expanded my question, no doubt.
Well, maybe the answer is to have a more expansive view on your business and more love.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Go.
It seems so abstract, and yet when you put it that way, Catherine, it feels attainable. Something a little more concrete.
Well, it's so strange, but people don't realize that when we move into feeling, because an expansion and love are feeling, right? Mm-hmm. When we move into feeling, our whole life changes, and everything flows and becomes easy. Right, so I believe that even just an image like that can change our life instantly. Maybe, Ray, you should let us know in a year or so.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'd love to hear back from you, Ray. That'd be fabulous.
Definitely. You're definitely barking up my tree because, my girlfriend about this all the time about how, she has hard days, and I told her, you have to breathe love into your work, and I forget to do that in my own life a lot of the time, But
well, may I give you a little hint? Imagine that when you go into your office, you breathe in the blue light from the sky that's filled with sunlight. Breathe it through your nose into your mouth, and then blow it out into the office so that it fills the whole office. Mm-hmm. Sorry.
Awesome.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, luckily my office usually is the whole outdoors. I'm a builder.
Oh.
I work by 99% of the time, so I get to breathe all that fresh air.
Surround your people with that light.
Mm.
Yeah, there you go.
It's another way of thinking about it.
Your girlfriend and other people in your family too, in your life, loved ones. Yeah. Well, thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Ray. I'm so glad you called.
Oh, me too. This is great.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Take care, Ray. We'll talk to you again another time.
Bye, Ray.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Okay, so Catherine, I would like to let folks know how they can get in touch with you. I know schoolofimages.com is your home webpage. Is there another place that people can get in touch with you, or is that really the best way? What would you offer?
That's the best way, and they write to info@schoolofimages.com, and we'll answer them immediately.
Okay. Great, and you can go to that webpage, and there's all kinds of information about your extensive programs about images and dream work and all that, and a lot of that is online, I understand.
For the moment, it's been online since the pandemic, but we have schools in many different countries. So in Europe, we have a big community, and in Asia, we have a very big community. China, Malaysia, Taiwan, and in Japan, in Australia.
Wow.
Right. So we have a number of people working in this way all over the world.
Oh, fabulous. That's wonderful.
So, so people who don't speak good English can do that in another language.
So I wonder if you just have any final words for our listeners, Dr. Shainberg.
Well, trust your inside. Turn your eyes in, gaze in, and trust what you see. The more you do that, the stronger your life is going to become. And all this panic that we have outside will transform and become feeling like we just saw with Ray. We are full of emotion, and understandably so, because the world is so dramatically in difficulty. But if we look inward, we'll find the answers.
Excellent. Looking inward to find the answers. Thank you so much. This is Dr. Catherine Shainberg. It's been a delight to have you on the show.
Thank you so much, Catherine.
All right. Bye. So next week, we'll be back live. So tune in and listen to the live broadcast at Saturday at 10, or catch the podcast replay, which is released, as always, on the Monday following the show. Stay tuned for What a Week. Eric and Tony are right here, ready to go. I am Catherine Bell, and this has been the Dream Journal. Thanks for listening. You can find out about my own dream coaching practice at experientialdreamwork.com. Email me at Catherine at KSQD, that's KATHERINE at ksqd.org. Do contact me, and we can talk about dreams. I will also put you on my email list. So feel free to leave a review on Apple Podcasts. I'm glad you are enjoying the show. I'd like to thank Rick Kleffel, Tony Russimano, Eva Milady. This outro music is Everything by Mood Science. And go ahead to ksqd.org. We are 100% listener supported. And when you donate, be sure to tell them you are a Dream Journal listener. Join me again next Saturday at 10 a.m. And when you do wake up, write down your dream and bring it to the next Dream Journal. I am Catherine Bell, and you're listening to KSQD Santa Cruz.
Husbands and wives, all the boys and the girls, and everyone in the world knows that so much is wrong, but much more